So we are going to have our first session in solution tech by David Deppner, also known as Shai, and founder of Cyberware, an e-commerce and advertising company. He has launched Cyberware in 1994, and he has nearly 30 years of experience in executive management, and he can dive into everything from technical details to the high-level strategy. He has spent a decade of time with a mid-sized Magento company as a merchant, and his role was the VP of IT and e-commerce. He was responsible for multi-million dollar digital marketing and e-commerce operation. And today he's going to talk about how to drive sales with a better Google Shopping feeds. So, David, we are honored to have you here. You can, start the presentation.
Thank you so much for the introduction, Shakti. Today, I am going to talk about how to drive more sales with better Google Shopping feeds. And this is a topic that's becoming more and more important because Google is using more and more automation and machine learning in order to improve ad results. And many of the optimization techniques we used to be able to use a few years ago are actually no longer available to us. So when we're managing shopping ads, the primary thing that we actually can affect and improve is the data in the feed. And I hope to show you today some practical tips and some techniques that you can use to improve the performance of any advertising that you're doing with Google Shopping feeds, and also to get some better organic results with them as well. So my name is David, and I've already got introduced, so I'm just going to skip this, but you've got my Twitter handle there if you're interested in reaching out at any point. I'd love to hear from you. And I just want to also say that I'd be happy to send over slides to anybody who wishes them, so you don't need to worry about taking screenshots if there's something that you see that you're interested in. At Cyberware, we primarily work with e-commerce merchants on all sorts of things related to e-commerce advertising and all of the things that related to that, like shopping feeds, analytics projects, and everything else. Shopping feeds are becoming more and more and more important to us, like I said. And so we're spending more effort on shopping feeds and optimizing shopping feeds than ever before. And there are far more techniques that we can use now and talk about than we could just a couple of years ago. The way we think about shopping feed optimization really has to do with a value creation funnel. Think about this just logically. You have to export products from Magento, and then Google Merchant Center may approve them or may reject them. And so you have to deal with approvals and rejections in Merchant Center. But once you get them approved, then you have to do extra work to try to get them more optimized so searchers can find them. And you don't even stand a chance of getting somebody to click on your product until you've already got the product in front of them on a screen. So then you got to get them to click it, and finally they come to your website, and maybe at that point you stand a chance of making a sale. There's all of these steps in a row that we need to go through in order to drive sales revenue. It used to be that shopping feeds were really only about optimizing for Google Shopping ads. But this last year, Google added in free product listings as a new service for anybody that has shopping feeds going into Merchant Center. Anybody with a Merchant Center account that's verified for their website can now put a shopping feed in place, and even if they're not running advertising, they can get free organic listings on several Google properties. And it's very easy to do because standard listings for free product listings only require 5 attributes. It's very simple. There's not very much that has to be passed over to Google. These are available in India, by the way. But there's also this concept of free enhanced product listings. And this is where Google shows more rich information about your products on the shopping tab. I'm not going to go into all of these attributes, but basically in order to get the additional free enhanced product listings, you need to pass Google a lot more information. And if you do that, then they're going to give you a lot more organic traffic at no cost to you at all. Another change that's come up recently is Google is expanding free local product listings. And this allows you to list products that are for sale maybe in a 50-kilometer radius around a store location. We've also had some success with merchants that don't even have retail stores. If they have a warehouse and they allow people to come to the warehouse to buy online and pick up in store at a warehouse location. And a free Google product listings are available in India as well, even though the local inventory ads are still not available for all Magento merchants and for all advertisers. These are very easy to implement. All it really requires is you giving the actual inventory quantities that you have over to Google in a separate local inventory feed. And there's a few issues you have to deal with to get that verified with Google. It is a little bit of work, but it can be done. And again, a free source of additional organic product listings and traffic to your website. So I want to go into talking just a little bit about some of the issues that come from exporting products out of Magento. And I'm going to tackle configurable products to show you a few of the issues that we see all the time with Magento merchants. Configurable products aren't really products. You can think about a configurable product in a sense almost like a category page. It's a container for several other products with some mechanism to navigate the page and select the actual product you want. Because of this, it doesn't really represent a physical product that can be sold. It represents a group of them, and it's an interface to selecting the physical product that can be sold. This causes a lot of issues with Google's Google shopping feed specification. So in Magento, we have a parent configurable like the SKU of MT04, and then we have a number of child simple products, and these are all tied together, and the attributes in Magento map which child product is which size or which color and so on. But the Google feed specification says that every one of those individual child simple products has to be a unique product in the Google feed. And each variant's price has to be accurately displayed on the landing page. The feed data has to match the landing page. So if you have a configurable product with simple child products with different prices, you are going to get all these products rejected because Google can't correctly parse the landing page pricing. So the Google feed specification says to really only put in those simple products, only put in the variants, don't include the parent configurable product. And then you tie all of those individual simple product variants together with a field called the item group ID. That tells Google that they're all related. So that's going to look something like this. You have each of the simple products on a separate line in your Google feed. They all have the same item group ID, the MT04, which is the parent configurable SKU. And then you tell Google the ways that they vary, the different colors they have and the sizes. The problem comes up with landing page URLs, because in many cases, merchants don't allow the simple product child products to be visible in the Magento catalog. If they are visible, you can just list out the simple products as the landing page URLs. But if they're not individually visible, you're going to have some more problems because only the configurable product is visible on the front end to people coming to your site. But Magento 2 has a default way of adding a URL suffix to any configurable product, which will pre-select certain attributes and options and map to the correct simple product and display the correct pricing. There are also some Magento configurable product feed extensions or configurable product extensions that give you advanced option abilities that also affect what the URLs are going to be. And there's a few ways of going about this. But basically, if you can correctly export these attribute values and option IDs for all of the different variants that are on a configurable product page, you can craft custom URLs for all the child products. And that would look something like this. Each of those child products in the feed is going to have a specific URL based on the attribute IDs. So Magento has all sorts of issues with all sorts of different product types because the product types are really not products in the physical real world sense. They're user interfaces that allow you to select a product. I did a complete presentation about all of the Magento product types at Magento Imagine a couple of years ago. And if you're interested in a deep dive into how to deal with grouped products and bundled products and other Magento product types, I'd encourage you to go check that out. You can find an easy link to it on the cyberware.com blog. So as we move along and get our products into Google, we usually have a lot of product disapprovals. And let's look at just a few of the issues that we come up against or how to think about solving them. The first thing I'll bring up is that if you go through the Google product data specification, there's going to be a lot of best practices or recommendations. And when you're trying to get products approved in Google Merchant Center, you can just ignore those. They don't matter at all. Those are recommendations to optimize for better performance. They're not going to get your products approved. You only need to pay attention to the real requirements. Solve those issues first. And if you look in Merchant Center at the Diagnostics tab, you're going to see a lot of errors and a lot of warnings. Pay attention to the errors. The warnings don't matter. These are, again, things to do to optimize later on. They don't affect product approval, right? You need to deal with the errors. Google has been depending more and more on accurate G10 data. This is what they use as the main unique ID in their massive database of all the products that are available around the world. Now, G10 errors cause a lot of the disapprovals that people are seeing now. And I want to focus in mainly on a couple of these and just give you a couple ideas. So first off, if the data is missing and Google says, we're not going to approve your products because you're missing the G10 data, you don't have a choice. You need to find an accurate G10 for that product. The thing to think about is those G10s are available probably somewhere else for a different merchant on Google Shopping. So go to the Google Shopping tab, search for the same product, browse other people's products and find them. You can frequently find them on Amazon as well. And there are also UPC databases out there that provide API interfaces that your developers can run massive queries against in order to find likely matches that then somebody can review. If you're dealing with issues where you're getting disapprovals for invalid values, you don't need to provide valid values. You just need to remove the invalid values. For example, if you have a situation where Excel changed to G10 to scientific notation, and then the scientific notation 6.5 something something E plus 11, if that got exported to a CSV and you imported that value into a Magento, those you don't need to fix, you just need to delete them. If you get rid of the invalid value, many of those products will become approved. There might be some new errors triggered, but at least you'll get a big batch of those additional products approved. Magento causes a lot of issues with landing page validation in Google because Google has some policies that every product in the feed has to be displayed as the most prominent product on the landing page. It has to be the most prominent price on the landing page, and it has to be the availability has to show that it's in stock on the landing page. And they want to know that it's actually a new or used product. All these things have to be clearly specified, and Google's algorithms try to check for these things. Since many of the Magento product types are these complex groups of products, like a grouped product, they don't accurately display the information Google needs to validate the landing page. So many times the issues with landing page validation, product disapprovals can be fixed by understanding how to work with the Magento data types and correctly get your simple products listed in your feed rather than the complex products. After we get products approved in Merchant Center, now it's time to do some more work on getting them found in search. So this is the case where the warnings on the diagnostic tab can become much more important, and we want to resolve more of these. Also, Google is approving more products that were previously disapproved, but they're saying that if you don't have certain required attributes, they'll still be approved, but they're going to be penalized and have less performance. If you think about what that really means, that means you're going to be paying more money for clicks for fewer sales. So it's going to change the financial balance of your advertising systems. So it is really important that we flesh out all of the possible data, even for products that are approved, in order to improve performance. So the key optional attributes that you need to hit are color, pattern, material, size, age group, gender, the Google product category, the product type. All of these need to be set to give Google a complete picture of all your product data and make it more likely that they're going to match searchers to the thing that they're looking for. In particular, the title attribute is considered one of the more important attributes. The Magento product title may not be the best title for advertising systems. There's a few reasons for this. You might want to have top keywords in the title in the advertising system. You might want to talk about the attributes that vary, like the color and so on. You want to talk about what matters most to searchers. Put the most important words first as well. Oh no, lost a light. So the description attribute is one that can cause a lot of problems because people put a lot of data into the descriptions that have nothing to do with the product. For example, they'll put information about their business, or they'll put a lot of additional marketing information into the product descriptions, or they'll talk about other products that they relate to. And all of those extra keywords can cause Google to match the wrong searchers to an actual product. So oftentimes, optimizing descriptions is about removing the information we don't want in there. And make sure that you put a lot of work into your product identifiers. We've already talked about G10s a little bit. It's important that you also get the brand and MPNs correct as well. These allow Google to identify the product, and these are going to be what's going to be able to tie it into all Google's information about past searches that match particular products, so they can give you better performance based on what they've seen in the past. There's a new attribute that was just released a few months ago called the product highlight. And basically, this allows you to create a bullet point list of the key features of your product that can be displayed in the Google Shopping tab. They say don't add SEO keywords to this and try to use this for search engine optimization, but you also have to assume that Google could use any data that you give them to help match searchers to your products. So as long as you're providing good information that describes the products and isn't trying to spam the system, it's reasonable to expect that they might use this to help searchers find what they're looking for. But the most important attribute that I just love that they just added, and most people aren't aware of yet, is a new attribute called product detail. This allows you to construct a more complicated set of key value pairs and to group them in sections. And this essentially allows you to pass any arbitrary data into the Google Shopping system. So you can provide a lot more detailed information or specifications about any product that you have for sale. You got to assume that Google might do keyword matches on any of this data. You don't want to spam the system, but if you provide good, rich information, it will probably help your advertising. So finally, let's just talk about how to get a few more clicks on your ads, and then we'll wrap up. If you look at the actual ads in Google, they are very small and there's not much data on them that you can control. You have an image, a title, a price, and a few extensions that may optionally show up. The Magento product image might not be the best image for the advertisement. So one of the things that we frequently do is create a Magento attribute on a client site in order to map, just like you can specify product gallery images or the thumbnail or the small image, that sort of thing. We make an extra attribute so we can specify which image will be used in feed generation. We'll make a feed image attribute. We talked about titles a little bit before. Think about the fact that in the advertising context, only the first 2 to 5 words are actually going to show up in the advertisement. So if you can make sure that you really get those most important words right at the beginning of a title, that's all a user is ever going to see. In terms of price, we used to not be able to get good information about what the competitors' prices were, but Google just added a price competitiveness report. This is something you have to agree to terms and conditions on and opt into, but if you go into Manage Programs in Merchant Center and you opt into the market insights and agree to the terms, you'll have a new report that'll show you, if you have your G10s all correct on your products, it'll show you when your products displayed alongside competitor products where your price is a little bit higher, a little bit lower, how did they do? That can give you some information to tweak your prices just a little bit, and maybe you can slightly improve the clicks you're getting by being more price competitive, and maybe even increase your profitability at the same time. Finally, after all this, we get people on our site and we actually stand a chance of making a sale. A few follow-up, just kind of final points here. If you think about this, many of your competitors are struggling with the same issues of product disapprovals and bad data, right? So if you put a little bit more work into it, your products are going to get approved while your competitors still have their products disapproved. You know, just a little bit of work on your data gives you a competitive advantage where a lot of competitors aren't even bidding on some of the same products if they got their data from the same sources you got your data from, for example, from vendor databases and spreadsheets. If you can improve the product data, as I showed, you're going to get your products listed in more places, and you're going to get more free listings out of it as well. And that's going to increase your return on ad spend for sure. Just a few optimizations to help get higher click-through rate on when people actually show the ads, again, improves your performance just a little bit more. And if the right people find the right product and then come to your site, you're going to have a higher conversion rate when people get to your site. They found what they were looking for. And ultimately, all of those little improvements lead to an increasing amount of profitability over time. And I think that's the goal here, just continuing to optimize the business and make little improvements at every step so we can make it all, increase our sales, increase our profitability. That's all I have for today. I've got my email address up here. If you'd like to reach out, feel free to. I'd be happy to answer any questions. And let me actually check and see if I got some questions here.
Yeah, we do have one question for you.
Okay.
Like even after performing all the techniques that you have listed, listed the products on the shopping feed is not coming on the top. So how we can fix it and get it on the top?
Ultimately, if you want to be at the top, you have to outbid your competitors. You have to be willing to spend more money to get those clicks. And it depends on what campaign types you're using in Google advertising. If you are using smart shopping campaigns, you might need to split out different campaigns for products that you want to promote more and change your return on ad spend targets to be more aggressive and be willing to accept lower profit margins. If you're using cost per click bidding, then you might just need to split out the products into individual product groups and increase the bids on those to force them to show. And sometimes Google's AI, their artificial intelligence, doesn't make good choices on products where they don't have a lot of data. So sometimes the right answer is to spend more money to force your products to show up higher at the top, higher bidding. And then as they get more data and Google sees that the click-through is good, then they'll start to funnel even more traffic to you.
Okay, thank you. I hope this will help Pragya to answer your question. We do not have any more question. Like I do have one question, even I'm a host, but I just want to know like at what frequency we should submit the Google shopping feeds to the Google?
Normally, we do that on a daily basis. So in the middle of the night, every night, we rebuild new feeds. So if anything was changed in the previous day, it synchronizes with Google overnight. Some of the systems out there will connect via API and make changes immediately when they're changed in the e-commerce platform. But it probably doesn't matter that it's that frequent. But you just want to do it with a good regularity. Usually every day is good. And that way, if there's any problems with products going out of stock and things like that, you're no longer advertising products that are no longer available to sell.
Yes, correct. Okay, thanks. I think
Right.
we are done and we don't have any more question. So we can end this. Thank you, David, and thank you everyone for joining this session.
Thank you.
Bye.